The royal family, you think of all the money they have, and what do they do? What do they do? It's an outdated institution, and believe me, many a time I've stopped and had a little chat with one or two of the coppers outside Windsor Castle.
Oh, yeah.
And even they say, mate, if I could let you into the castle, I would. If they was to open up a space and say, right, anybody homeless in the area, if you're struggling, come into our grounds, use our toilets, don't abuse or anything, but,
This is yours too. Yeah.
Then that would show that they're connected, even though they've got all the money and stuff. But, why should I have to stay in my car after 3 years? What have I got to do? Go to France and come back on a bloody dinghy?
Caller Gary just said everything the palace's PR department has been praying no one would ever say out loud. The man's living in his car, a literal car, while a family of unelected aristocrats are lounging across castles, palaces and estates so vast you'd need Google Maps to find the end of the driveway. And somehow we're supposed to bow and curtsy to them because of tradition, please. Let's start with the obvious. Gary didn't sound angry for sport. He sounded tired of watching the royal family play dress-up in a country that's falling apart. They should open Windsor Castle to the homeless, he says. Oh, what a concept, using a palace for people, not parties. Imagine Charles saying, we're opening the East Wing to those who need shelter. The media would implode. The Daily Mail would publish a 48-hour panic headline. Commoners touch the castle, and royal aides would be running around like, but Your Majesty, where will we host the next tiara luncheon? Gary's not being dramatic and he's being real, and that's what makes this so powerful. Because the royals love to talk about service until it actually requires sacrifice. They can wave, they can smile, they can hand out medals, but when it comes to doing something human, suddenly the silence is royal policy. And that's what Meghan Sussex exposed so beautifully. Remember when she said the firm missed the opportunity to evolve? That wasn't shade, that was prophecy. Meghan walked in, looked at this dusty old institution and said, wait, you all have how many castles and still can't help people? She didn't just notice the cracks, she saw the rot beneath the gold paint. And of course that's why they turned on her. Because Meghan Sussex made them look lazy, irrelevant, and, heaven forbid, out of touch. Gary's voice is what the monarchy fears most, a regular citizen connecting the dots. Because once the people start realizing how absurd this setup is, the fairy tale falls apart. You can't preach duty while millions are in poverty. You can't pose for charity photos while folks are sleeping in cars. And you definitely can't keep claiming moral authority while sitting on land that could actually be housing the people you claim to serve. And the irony? Even the police outside Windsor Castle, the ones literally paid to guard it, sympathise with Gary. They're like, mate, if we could let you in, we would. That tells you everything you need to know. Even those on the palace perimeter see how broken this all is. The system is protecting privilege, not people. Meanwhile, Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry have redefined what real influence looks like. They're not waiting for permission. They built Archerwell from the ground up, focusing on real-world issues like mental health, women's empowerment, veterans, and online safety. That's service. That's the modern version of what the monarchy should have been doing for decades. But because Meghan wasn't born into the right postcode, the British establishment lost its collective mind. And let's just pause on Gary's golden line. What do they do? Exactly. What do they do? Besides cutting ribbons, posing for photographers, and dropping statements about understanding the struggles of the people from the comfort of a heated castle. It's a question that deserves an honest answer, one that doesn't involve PR buzzwords. If the monarchy truly wanted to show they care, Windsor could easily house hundreds of people temporarily. Just one of their many estates could fund entire social housing projects. But instead, they spend millions renovating properties that most taxpayers will never set foot in. Think about it. You're paying to heat castles while citizens are sleeping in cars. That's not a monarchy. That's a moral bankruptcy wrapped in velvet robes. And this is where Meghan Sussex stands apart. She's the definition of modern compassion. No empty speeches, no ceremonial nonsense, just real, tangible work. Remember the Grenfell community kitchen she helped rebuild? The women she supported created a cookbook that raised money for those affected by tragedy. That's what Gary's talking about, not empty words, action. And that's why Meghan's existence alone is a threat to the royal illusion. She does more with one project than the entire firm does in a year of royal duties. Gary also nailed another uncomfortable truth. What have I got to do? Go to France and come back on a bloody dinghy? It's satire, but it's also heartbreak. The UK system will bend over backward for headlines, but ignore its own citizens. Gary's not asking for luxury, just dignity. And it's wild that someone has to live in their car to make that point heard. If the monarchy were smart, which is debatable, they'd take Gary's message as a wake-up call. The illusion of untouchable royalty doesn't work in an age of social media and transparency. You can't lecture people about community when your wealth comes from land people were evicted from generations ago. You can't hoard privilege and then expect respect. And let's be real. While Gary's in his car, the tabloids are still obsessed with what Meghan Sussex had for breakfast. They'll print 15 stories about her facial expressions before mentioning that citizens are sleeping in vehicles. Because that's what the royal PR machine is built on. Distraction. Keep people arguing about Meghan's hair so they don't question the Crown's hypocrisy. But guess what? It's not working anymore. People like Gary are asking the real questions. They're connecting the dots between privilege and poverty. And when the everyday citizens start questioning the Crown, that's when the cracks turn into collapse. You can almost hear the royal advisors panicking in their gold-plated offices. We must show compassion. So they'll send Charles to plant a tree somewhere and call it outreach. Meanwhile, Meghan Sussex quietly funds programs that actually change lives. Who's the real royal here? Because it sure isn't the man with the scepter. This moment, Gary's frustration, is a reflection of what's coming. Britain's patience is wearing thin. You can't keep asking people to worship inherited wealth while they can't afford to live. You can't tell citizens to tighten their belts when the royal wardrobes cost more than their annual salaries. And the younger generation, they're seeing it all. They don't care about crowns or carriages. They care about fairness, equality, and progress. And that's exactly why Meghan and Harry resonate, because they represent that shift. So, to Gary, if you're listening, you've spoken more truth in 2 minutes than most politicians have in decades. You're the mirror Britain needs to face. The monarchy loves to talk about duty, but you're the one living it, surviving, persevering, speaking truth to power. And to the royal family, if you truly want to modernise, take Gary's advice. Open the gates, share your resources, do something that doesn't involve photo ops or PR. Because if not, this outdated institution will collapse under the weight of its own hypocrisy. Until then, the only royal we'll be watching with admiration is Meghan Sussex, the woman who left the castle, found her peace, and continues to show the world what real grace looks like. While some cling to titles, she's building a legacy, and that's something no crown can ever buy.